Oh, big boy Italian noises. This thing looks very Ferrari-esque. Or the Ferrari looks like a Lamborghini. Or maybe that just means it looks Italian. But this is a 90s Diablo 5.2 liter cylinder head. At least one of the cylinder heads. That looks to be the driver's side bank. Over here is the passenger side bank. A friend of mine in Texas installed the valve guides, and he decided that the machining life was not for him. So he asked me, "Hey, Josh, can you take care of this?" I said, "I got you." So here we go. Now, yesterday I honed the valve guides again at about 2 in the morning. It all went well until I decided to explode a $200 reamer. It's in the scrap bucket somewhere. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there you go. Focus, you fuck. There we go. That's a broken carbide reamer. Useless. But since I'm a monster, I did spend the 1.5 hours, 2 hours honing the valve guides, and we're ready to cut some valve seats. Only issue is, if you look over here, there's a little bit of chipping damage. The long end, it's got a little bend in her for her pleasure. This one had a little bit more of a kink in it, but with this precision unoblonging device, I was able to bend her back to a more reasonable position for dust removal. But I've got to get the rest of these studs out, so hopefully I can run this die over the top of her and get my very poor but quite useful snap-off stud extractors shoved onto her and get that stud removed, and then I can mount this beautiful piece of Italia machinery mounted up in a new machine, which I have not revealed to you guys yet. More coffee. It's a piece of history sitting back there, and I did buy it from old people, so what else could you expect from me? I'm a sucker for a deal. This thing's quite clean. If you didn't know any better, you'd think this thing was brand new. I may or may not clean that all off because it's going to have to all get blended by hand after the valve job anyways, but we'll see. Maybe I'll have heart take care of this for my man in Texas, who is also another Josh. As you're a woman watching this channel, which demographically, statistically, I know you're not. There's a 0.5% viewership from women, and it's probably those of you who are using your wife's YouTube account, but who am I to judge? Oh, whoopsie daisy, I lost my train of thought. Maybe the alcohol. But what I was saying, if you're a woman out there, you know, don't trust the J names. It's always the J names. All right, let's get after her. Let's remove those studs. You know, tonight's the night of a U.S. presidential debate. I watched about 30 minutes of it and decided I didn't have enough brain cells nor the patience for it, so might be why I decided to come out here to de-stress or drink in private. I really don't know. I will express the pleasure I had in working on this compared to that Ferrari that I did last year. Or was it earlier this year? I don't remember. Because this thing doesn't have every single freaking stud Loctited in place. And I don't know what the deal is, but that pre-European Union Loctite is something that we'll be speaking of for generations to come, because that stuff is tough. Seems like you can't get any of those studs out that came from Europe. Anything from Europe from the late 70s and clear into the early 90s. If it's a stud, it's not coming out, fam. I'm sure my Snap-on has some serious opinions about using impacts on the hand tools, but that's why you buy the Snap-on. It's for that lifetime warranty, isn't it? Oh, it's funny. These Diablo engines are quite interesting. When you're a company that's pretty consistently in financial trouble, you tend to have issues with developing new designs and engines. This 5.2 liter, in fact, I might be wrong about that displacement. I may Google that sometime in the future, but this 5.2 liter engine dates back, I think, clear into the Miura. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the same base architecture in the block. And later on, they kept developing it, making changes to the top end, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately ending up in the Diablo before it got Murcielagified in the early 2000s with the VAG acquisition. Yeah, this is still good old American Chrysler era Lamborghini. They literally, instead of designing a new casting, they bolted on deck plates on top of the engine blocks and just installed taller wet sleeves so they could fit a little more arm or more stroke on the spinny bits, the crankshaft. And they increased the displacement throughout the years, hopped up those motors, and they're really good sounding machines. But let's see if I manage to find a good quality photo to include in here while I'm brambling about Lamborghini designs from the 90s. They're really quite hilarious. In fact, the wet sleeve designs are quite problematic because they would leak internally and cavitate and cause all kinds of issues. Essentially just self-destruct while they're sitting there in their little garages. Kind of why you end up with these vehicles with 15, 20,000 miles having to come apart, all the way apart for rebuild. I think this one started off as a reseal, and they ended up, that engine was quite leaky. Then they ended up having to rebuild the whole thing, and here we are. Oh. What life choices have led me to this? I should have sold real estate. All right, let's switch to coffee. Oh, that could be a worse combination. The coffee, then the Coke and tequila. It's a problem. All right, I think the next move is cut off wheel, lop that guy off. Then I can get the stud extractor onto there. I think we'll move into this machine. Take advantage of the filtration and whatnot. The mill's a mess. Don't look at that. Oi, mate, what are you going to do with that? I'm going to cut her off. If I could find the airline. All right. Safety squints on. I operate everything in here on like 90 PSI of shop air. If I'm blowing air, I've only got, 30 seconds of good air pressure before it tapers off. Now that air compressor that you hear working overtime in the background, it's really meant for driving like in a nail gun. Maybe not a fully equipped machine shop in somebody's garage, but sure works like a champ. California Air Tools, sponsor me. Oh, your man, your boy is really an advocate for your product. Oh, my sciatica. Okay, we're in business. Let's do a valve job. Or maybe first we'll clean these chambers. Have a heart. I don't know that. Should I do? What do I do? Yeah. Let's take off my... I elected to take off my $40 Porsche hat. Trying to fit in with the crowd. We went on a drive to check out Car Week. Went to a friend's event at a shop in Monterey as well. No, in Santa Cruz as well. That was a good time. The Car Week thing, not really my jam, dog. That was a little wild. Went to a resort instead, but your boy was getting cooked. I needed to cover up my noggin. America apparently doesn't know how to make wire cup brushes like we used to. Ow! We're getting blasted with stainless bristles. And while in some instances the little pricks could be quite enjoyable, this is not one of them. Oh, they're inside of me. Horrible. Horrible. Where's my Scotch-Brite brush? There it is. And this chamber shape is quite familiar. I seem to remember seeing this on some of the Porsche 4-valve engines of the era, also on some Daewoo's as well. What an engineering marvel. Good enough for the girls I go out with. Ow. Oh boy. Like I said, I'm not trying to get this perfect. I'm just trying to get prettied up for you. Time! Oh. Clean. What? I'd say that was a little bit much, but I dropped this can earlier in the week. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. I saw a little YouTube video. Someone did that. I hate myself. All right. That was quite invigorating. These guides brushed out. Nope, it's amazing. All of these engines from the era, all these exotic engines, they make all this power. But by design, they're really not all that impressive. When you look at them, you go, what is this? You think, oh, they're engineering marvels. Honestly, they're kind of simple and archaic, a lot of them. The Germans are a little more impressive. The Italians, they're all brute force. Oh, we all know I love to deburr everything. But it's very greasy. We shall deburr just the ends then. Perfect. Might be huffing a bit too much of that brake clean. I don't know. Oh, all I could say is I'm really begging for oxygen. What is that? Castings are quite a bit cleaner than the Ferraris. Well, it's quite the observation. Whoa. Dirty. This thing's long. It's just like Cummins diesel long. All right, let's go in the machine. This is an action-packed episode because I am going to try to keep it short. Now, this humble piece of machinery is called a VGS-20. I happen to have used one of these for many years. Oh. And you may say, but Josh, you've been poo-pooing these kinds of machines for years. Ever since I've known you. What happened? Well, opportunity happened. A friend of mine was closing a shop. It was a good deal. Don't know what else to say. So, here we go. It's an airfloat head. Has a little hand wheel here. Clock spring there for counterweight, except I think I'm going to have to pull that roll pin out. Give it a little more clocking because I honestly prefer this to retract on its own. Later models do that. Now, this model would be referred to as a Tobin Arp VGS 20,000 or something to that effect. This is the earliest version of the VGS 20, or at least this is the latest of the earliest version of the VGS 20. Now, some of them were yellow. This one's red. I don't know why. Don't ask me. If you rub enough brake clean on the red, you get down to yellow. Don't know what that situation's all about, but here we are. Now, like all true workhorses that you'll find inside of a machine shop, these things tend to get used and never upgraded. And people think that they work just as good and are just as relevant as they were in 1978. Except the standards have changed. And hopefully your skill set has changed as well. When I use this thing, I love that it's so easy. I don't love that it's kind of a pain in the ass to cut a good seat. They're good machines. I know what they're good at. I know what they're not good at. As long as you use the machine within the context of what they're good for, you're okay. And we'll be okay. Mainly, what their issue is rigidity in the setup. Now, this is a really sweet rollover fixture. All you do is you set your head in there, set this little stopper up against a gasket surface or a machine surface, lock your head down, and you can roll her over in all different ways. This head even tilts left and right. All you use is a bubble level. Kind of a sweet deal, isn't it? It is. Except when you load the thing up real hard, you'll watch this fixture move around left and right because all that attaches this thing to the base of the machine are these little clamps back there. Now, essentially, if you exceed the friction and the gravity that holds this fixture in place, you're going to have a problem. But this little tiny Lamborghini with those little baby seats, it's going to be fine. And here I will be to prove it. Now, I do like using this thing. It's really great for roughing in seats. I can even cut seat counter bores. I was doing that earlier today. Drill out valve guides, drill broken bolts, do some nice quick repairs. They're mindless, easy. I love that this machine is really good for that. The mill is still going to get used for valve jobs on really hardcore race stuff or anything where I'm going to have to restore some geometry. Now, this thing I'll be utilizing. We'll make it a real big part of the channel. Now, eventually, once I make a little room, I'll kill one of the shelves that's sitting behind me and put this guy's old neighbor in here. And then we'll have this machine to choose from, and a nice little French, almost Surdy-like machine in our arsenal. Then we'll be able to have some real versatility between this machine, another machine, and then that mill. It's going to be a good time. But let's focus on the present. Let's work on the Lamborghini. Oh, I feel horrible. I think it may be... Oh, I can feel it. It's going into my bloodstream. It's the industrial solvents that I use to wash this thing off after honing the guides. I don't know how much long I am for this world, but it was nice knowing you guys. In the meantime, maybe I'll give you a brief history on what these machines were really meant for. Maybe what they became, what became of them. Now, a lot of times you'll find these machines in the form of the Sunin VGS20. Some of those were green, some of those were white. In fact, I swear I've seen red ones too. That's just really essentially everything's the same, except they took away a belt drive and then just made it a direct drive with a VFD. You don't have to know what any of that means. Just know that it's a little bit nicer. But the electronics were designed by the French. They're quite problematic. The French people, the Frenchmen's that, Frenchmen's or Frenchmen? The Frenchmen that designed the electronics, they don't exist anymore. And support from Sunin has also gone away. It's gone away in favor of supporting just their honing equipment. So if you were a machine shop in the modern era, anytime in the past 10 years, if you had a VGS20 with issues, you were kind of shit out of luck. But generally, they were really great machines. At the time, when the salesman, when machine shops had traveling salesmen, and at the time, when that salesman rolled up trying to hustle a 3100 or a 2.0 to you for 45 grand, that's another salesman would come around and go, hey, listen, my boy, I can set you up with a Sun and VGS 20. It'll be 20 grand. Trust me. You don't want those 30. Those French. You can't trust them. Remember, history always repeats itself. And a lot of those shops, they went, oh yeah, I don't trust no damn Frenchman. I'll buy your machine, you good sir. And that's pretty much how that went. And as time went on, for most rebuilders, the VGS 20 was a good machine. If you were a good machine shop, or even just the discerning collector of crap, you might have upgraded the machine over the years and kept it quite a bit more relevant than some others would have. And that's your right. If you didn't, your quality would have gone downhill in a hurry. But those that did keep that machine up to date, that was a damn good machine. I learned on one of these. I have fond memories because this machine started my career. I have fond memories of that milling machine sitting about 15 feet down yonder because that thing made me a machinist. Oh. And on that same note, working on engines ruined my life. So who am I to be sentimental about all this crap? Well, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to get this head square against that bar I showed you on the backside, because that's real important. There's no indicating the head to make sure that it's sitting true, nor would you have to do that. You just reference a gasket surface and you're good to go. And indeed, we are good to go. Now I'm going to go wash my hands because I can feel my nerve endings being eroded as we speak. But when I return, we'll shove a pilot in these holes, get a seat cutter set up, and we'll cut some seats. Oh man, you'd think after all this technological tomfoolery, I'd know a little better than to let the battery die. But I figured I'd get everything all set up and start cutting some seats. It's really going to be underwhelming. Like I said, the Italians with their top-end designs, it's kind of a big hammer. Kind of archaic. They started off with just one single seat angle. It's hard to tell. Honestly, you can't really see it. But I swear there's 3 angles there. Just a sliver of them. Honestly, it's just a big-ass 45. And that's really all you can fit in there. I thought about narrowing up the seat, but this is the exhaust side. Excuse the Rick Sanchez-like hiccuping. I have heartburn. Happens with age. In fact, it's almost my birthday. It's kind of why I'm working at 3 a.m. I've got goals and aspirations. Free a boy. Also, started decorating. I'm not much of a decorator, but if you could tell me where that thing's from, extra bonus points to you. If I had merch, I'd send you merch. But that's cool. Just a big-ass mic. Eventually, I'd like to have this whole wall filled up. I'm a real sucker for old automotive memorabilia. I'm going to hang some of my dead Porsche wheels up on this little wall here. I've got some dead Fuchs sitting in my living room right now. My wife's a little desensitized. Good woman. And now, while she does let me store dirty Porsche wheels in our living room, she does draw the line at machining equipment. You know, I may be included in that. Maybe that's why I'm sleeping in the garage tonight. Joke's on her. I'm working. Okay. So now this is quite convenient. You know, all you do is you make sure the machine's nice and level first off. Then you set up this little level. Turn it either way. Make sure you're reasonably level left to right, front to back. Get your guy nice and relatively parallel with the rest of the machine. Then you press a button and the thing floats on air. It's like magic. I'm the sucker that did valve jobs on the mill for all those years. Go away. This thing's a piece of crap. Came with this little shitty incandescent light that's honestly in my way most of the time. Oh, I hope it's not in your way. What an eyesore. I need somebody that sells LEDs to sponsor me, because this is a problem. Yeah, that bothers me now. Okay. Bring the spindle down. Make sure that guy goes up in its hole. Bring it close to the seat. Float it there for a moment. I like to do it twice. Bam. That's all you do. Now, these seats are made out of absolute dog shit. They don't really machine all that nice. And that's it. Now, I believe that there's only an acceptable limit of plus or minus 5 thousandths on acceptable seat depth on these. So really, I've got to just take the minimum amount off of these seats. Can that be fudged? Sure. Can I cut more? Sure. Would you want to? I probably wouldn't recommend it. You know, if you're... My buddy did a pretty reasonable job on installing these seats, or installing these guides, because I haven't run into really anything. Totally... I'm dying. It's that heartburn. Oh, I'm a mess. I really haven't had to cut a whole lot. Cut. I'm done with this. I hate this. I'm not playing this character anymore. You can't make me pay. All right, and we're back. Better than ever. My buddy did a half-decent job installing these guides because I haven't had to cut an unreasonable amount out of these seats just yet, so that's good. These seats are real tiny, so this machine handles them just fine. You know, the times you'll get into trouble is with valve seats that are like 2-inch 300 or better. You know, big block Chevy. But the closer you get to the spindle diameter of your machine, the more prone you are to getting in trouble. You know, I like to finish all my seats with stones anyways, so it's really not a problem for me. But I also happen to check seat runout. Most machine shops don't. They kind of just trust that their machine's going to do a good job, but if you don't check, you don't know, so I don't know what to tell you, bub. Okay. Honestly, these machines really would do an awesome job if somebody cut some slots into the bases of these, of the rollover fixture, and came up with a little T-slot deal
I said,
yeah, for it, some kind of clamping deal to clamp it to this base. Eventually, I'll take the time and modify this machine so that I can do that myself. In the meantime, it's all right. Okay.
oh, man.
Pretty. And if I'd ever felt like doubting myself, just see if it does the bouncy though. What does? I didn't grind these valves. And my boy did. Pretty decent job. Oh, look at that. Can you focus? Yeah. So that's our contact patch. It's a 60 thousandths wide valve seat. I'm doing a 35-degree top and a 52-degree bottom. Not aggressive at all. Very unpronounced top and bottom angles. It's the closest cutter I had to the factory because I don't actually own a straight 45 seat cutter. Kind of blasphemy to me, but whatever. The Italians, they know best. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I wouldn't trust anyone from a country that doesn't work on Sundays. But I do adore them. Because I get to work on these kinds of things. I'm such a lucky guy. On to sleep. Chrysler era Lamborghini is one of the least intimidating tasks I've had to do this week, so this is a walk in the park. Nice. All right, last one. Oh, well. Let's get her clean. There we go. Oh, man. I can tell this head's warped. Nice. Oh, pretty good. Yeah, that's the exhaust side done. Very uninteresting. No, it's normally pretty cozy in here, but it's kind of a train wreck. There's only a couple feet were the walking space, and I'm kind of a heavy man. It's looking good, though. I love it. Oof. Nice. Cool. Let's try the insect side. Oh boy. So we are rolled over. And I've even set the level. So this is how that works. Check left to right. Make sure you're reasonably center. Then you check front to back. I'd say that's looking pretty good. What do you think? I'm a hair over that away, but that's acceptable. It's going to vary a little bit from guide to guide. Now, it's really obvious when you're setting up each individual pilot in the mill, but you really wouldn't know how much that blonde one really was. He's just using a bubble level. Now, that exhaust valve, focus. It's pretty normal looking. The intake valve was a little interesting, just for the fact that it's really not much of a valve face. Plenty for what we're doing. Kind of limits your seat choices. You really can't get too creative for the fact that there's no way of fitting an actual valve seat in there or an actual profile in there. Now, I have chosen to use a cutter with a 35-degree top, 45-degree seat, and a 52-degree bottom angle. We might be able to add in one extra seat angle. I'm not sure, but we'll see here in a minute. Now, one of those things that you're not going to see off camera is me straddling the tripod just to get you the shot. What dedication. I'll spare you the drama. See what happens here. I have indeed added a second angle. I'm going to speed it up just a hair and see if I can cut another thou or so out of that seat. It's trying to chatter on me slightly. Now I have fit 3 angles on there. Let's see what will happen if I put some ink on this. I'll try to do this one-handed, but if I rub the valve on there, we should get an idea of what I've done. That was. Oh. All right. Yes. Look at that. One-handed. You can even see that sliver of the top and bottom angle. Look at that. Whoa. Kind of hard to see. Shiny things are not very photogenic. Is that even a real word? Or is that just a term that angsty teenagers like to throw around at each other maliciously? We'll never know. But that's a 45-degree seat, 40 thousandths wide or 1 millimeter on the intake valve of a Lamborghini Diablo. I don't know. Maybe this will total a whole 12 horsepower. I think these things run pretty good anyways. This thing's got a CIS injection. How good will it run it? How good can it even run? I suppose I should add some extra shop lighting. They are on sale at Costco, and I do like the Costco. I am Asian after all. I love stepping in front of people while you just want to get to where you're going, but I just have to be in the way. And I do love me a good sale. I have a plan. I've got a friend of mine. I used to have a shop right around the corner from him. We'd have lunch every single day. He's a real funny guy. His name's Jeff. I'm trying to get him along. I'm trying to get him to come over for a little machinist get together. Hopefully I'll get you guys on a live feed. Get you to ask us some questions about machining or life or us or anything with a twist, an alcoholic twist. I think a little bit of drinking and Q&A might be a good time. And just as a cherry on top, if I can coordinate this, I'll bring my main man Mitchell along. I'll give you a warning. The man's a cuck. He's a real funny one, though. He's abandoning me. We grew up together. The man's moving to New Hampshire, be with his future wife. And I think, listen, man, if you're gonna throw your life away, why are you gonna throw it away in Dover, New Hampshire? But I don't know. Seems like the move to him. The man, he knows his buddies. He knows them quite well. I think he'd be a wonderful addition to this little Q&A. I'm going to coordinate this. It's going to be a good time. I tried getting Nick the Jamsey along for the ride, but, you know, newborn and priorities. Something about having a job. Kind of hard to get him to come along to California. In the meantime, I think the sun is rising. I'm just brambling because I'm kind of delirious. I'm going to leave you guys. I need to finish this valve job. There's a whole other head that needs to be done. I just felt like sharing this thing with you. There's not a whole lot of these in the country. So not every day you get to see some bramblefuck working on these heads. So thanks for coming along. I love having you. This is Josh at Engine Rehab. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Lambo. Full car. Heh.